Are billionaires evil? What a shocking statement. The fact that I even ask it as a question should tell you that I have a slightly more nuanced answer than most individuals. Hi, I'm Nick. This is 10 Minutes with Nick. Thank you to those who subscribe to the podcast on YouTube. If you like what I say, subscribe. If you don't like what I say, hate subscribe and then leave me a bunch of mean comments. It'll be fine. I'll cry. But that's okay. I need a good cry. I need to feel something. I feel nothing. Much like billionaires who have so much money, they don't know how to spend it. What do I mean by that? Well, the idea of having $1 billion is insane. I'm just going to agree with everybody right off the bat. The concept, it's not insane if you have the $1 billion, right? It's a concept that's insane to understand as human beings. Because when we look at, for example, $1 million, I can I don't know why, but I feel like I can wrap my head around $1 million. Like, okay, millionaire, that's cool. It's like, it's a nice even 7 digits. And I'm aware that 7's not an even number, yeah. But it's like, it just sort of feels like something you can wrap your head around. Like, it doesn't feel like an imaginary number. Once you get to $1 billion, like, that is an insane amount higher than $1 million. It is a million millions. Okay, 2 numbers I can wrap my head around, but then it's insane. We can all agree that $1 billion conceptually makes almost no sense. Not that it makes no sense that somebody should be allowed to have $1 billion, just the concept of, like, how would I count that Scrooge McDuck levels of money? Okay, so that being said, I agree. The concept of $1 billion is insane, but also, somebody got $1 billion, so what? Yeah, I'm sitting in silence for a minute, just waiting for you to tell me, so what? So what? They got $1 billion. Does that harm you? Yes, it does. Well, why does it harm you? What about that harms you? Well, it's money that could be in the economy. Really? Do you have savings? And yeah, did some people just get stupid lucky and get born into money? Absolutely. The Kardashians are a great example. They are hardworking businesswomen, but it was Kourtney, I think, who was almost at $1 billion, and then she literally just went on TikTok and just asked people to give her money, and they gave her money to make her the youngest female billionaire ever. Respect the hustle of getting on social media and making such a bald-faced, ridiculous ask of people, especially knowing that most of your fans are sort of working-class people who really probably can't afford to part with their money to help you get to $1 billion. But anyways, that's sort of what people in general think of billionaires. They think of them as sort of classless, evil people. And I'm not going to say the Kardashians are evil because somebody's going to disagree with me, and the Kardashians probably have a sniper who can come and find me. For the moment, we're safe. I don't know if we'll be safe forever, though, so I better finish this. What about billionaires makes them inherently evil? When does a billionaire become inherently evil? At what amount of money is the magic switch that makes somebody evil or uncaring about the world around them? Let's take Jeff Bezos as an example. I don't particularly like Jeff Bezos. I just don't like him. I think he has a stupid face, and I'm allowed to say that. I have no reason for it. I have no intuition that tells me that I should want to punch him in the face. I just look at him, I'm like, man's got a dumb face. He's got a stupid face. That being said, I don't begrudge him his success. Why would I? Did he get lucky that Amazon took off? Absolutely. But I just spent the last episode talking about how we're not entitled to anything good or bad in the world. So why would I hate Jeff Bezos for the ungodly levels of success that he's had? I can't fault him for it. Can I fault him on some of his business practices? Sure, but the fact that he's done some things in his business does not mean that he's also like looking out his window wondering to himself, how can I screw the little people today? No, he looks at things in a different frame of mind. And looking at things in a different frame of mind means he cannot be inherently evil. We talked about this on the podcast a couple episodes back, talking about Do evil people exist or not? The answer is they don't. Because for somebody to be truly evil, they have to understand that they are evil. And I submitted the argument that most evil is born, most things that we see as evil actions are ultimately born out of a fearful mindset. With Jeff Bezos, Amazon started to take off when he first opened it. I don't know, it was an internet company. I don't know how that works. But when he first opened it, he kept his bottom line very low to maximize profit. Every business does that. Every business has to do that. There's no choice. Well, Nick, if we lived in a society that... That's enough out of you. That's enough out of you, communist straw man, who I bring up sometimes. Capitalism is an awful system, but it's significantly better than the other systems behind it. But Nick, why would we want awful systems? Why wouldn't we work? I will say this. I will agree with my socialist-minded brothers and sisters on this. The outsized influence that billionaires and corporations are able to exert on government is strange, is too much. Do we want to get all money out of government? Probably. That seems to be a reasonable thing to do. But I've also talked about on this podcast how, the people in power right now are way too old anyway. Term limits, people. Term limits would do a hell of a lot to keep the levers of government free from money and influence. But that's really where the argument about how wicked and terrible billionaires are comes down to. It's the feeling that they are both business people and members of an elite ruling class that secretly works to screw over people. The answer is they're not secretly working to screw over people. They're secretly working to help themselves. Which, don't lie to me, human beings operate in such a way that no matter what the system is, no matter if it's socialist, capitalist, commune, whatever, you're always looking out for number one in some way. There's literally books in economics written on the problems of communal property. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Animal Farm, one of the greatest books of all time, literally runs the theme all the way through that they get rid of the humans who are supposed to be the problem, and they become this communal society. But then people start to just become a little bit more equal. Everybody is equal, but the pigs are more equal, right? Like, when you think about billionaires in that frame, you think to yourself that they are simply operating, looking out for number one. Truth is, we all operate to look out for number one in some way, shape, or form. You certainly don't go to work for charity. And 100%, if you feel you are being underpaid at work, you should be stepping up and talking about that. But in the same way, and you're not going to like it when I say this, in the same way that you should be fighting for as much pay as you can get, the business is going to fight to pay you as little as possible. And it's not because it's evil. It's simply because to that business, you are a cost. That's right. I said it. You are a cost. You are a part of the cost. And guess what? This is where the argument we will really start to hate the argument. You've put no risk or capital into a business. I put in time equity. You don't put in time equity. You don't. What do you do at the end of your 8-hour day? Now, again, if your 8-hour day starts turning into 10, 12-hour days and you're still getting paid the same amount of money, then you absolutely need to address that. Yeah, you lose your job if the company goes under. But guess what? If Amazon were to implode tomorrow, the person with the most amount of risk is Jeff Bezos. All his billions of dollars in value go away. And I'll close then on this note. It might make sense. This ramble might have made sense. It might not have made sense. What it really comes down to is this, and something to keep in mind about our billionaire brothers and sisters. If somebody is a billionaire, they do not have billions of dollars in cash. Get that out of your head. What they have is $1 billion of valuation, meaning that they own cash and assets equivalent to $1 billion plus. Interesting. Okay. The reason they are able to live so lavishly and basically able to insulate themselves from having to pay taxes is because they take advantage of certain portions of the tax code that allow you to take loans against assets without paying tax on those loans, because they're loans. They have to be paid back at some point. But if you take a loan out against an asset that is a value increasing asset, well, banks love that, because even if you don't pay back the loan, they're going to get their full value back. So they really don't care if you pay it back. That's the magic of billionaires, is they don't have $1 billion of cash lying around. They just don't pay taxes on any of the cash they do have, because that cash doesn't belong to them. It's a loan, and it has no tax associated with it. You want to fix the problem of billionaires? Fix the tax code. But don't tear down capitalism, and don't tear down a human being simply because you don't like the fact that they're able to look out for number one. They got lucky. They did. And they used that luck to look out for number one as hard as they could. Billionaires aren't evil. They're just rich. Sorry, guys. Thank you to the 14 people who listened to my podcast, and probably fewer now that I've said this. If you liked what I said, subscribe. If you hated what I said, subscribe. If you're indifferent, leave a comment. It'd be fun. I'm Nick. This was 10 Minutes with Nick. Have a great day.